Have you noticed villages around settlements and town centers seem to go through their woodlines quicker than those around lumber camps? Let's have a look into this phenomenon with numbers. In this video, we're going to be running a set of controlled simulations with lumber camps, settlements, and town centers, and analyzing how the number of villages affects the efficiency of each building in consuming a woodline. Without further ado, let's find out which drop-off point is best. Each simulation run was created in the scenario editor, done on a 9x9 woodline with 9 villages, 7 villages, 5 villages, and 3 villages for each drop-off point. Wood gathered was then measured in capture age after the fact at set time points to determine villager gather rate and precisely measure start times. We aren't going to be replacing any of the drop-off points for this simulation. Even though that creates some pretty ridiculous drop-off patterns, we're just looking to simplify and compare the 3 drop-off points. I'm expecting to see efficiency stay higher for a longer period of time on larger drop-off points such as settlements and town centers, because there's going to be less pathing issues with villagers bumping into each other, as well as the geometry providing slightly shorter walking distances. The key point of investigation will be villager efficiency, and whether this is something that makes a difference. And a side note here, we're only going to be looking at wood gather rates for this video, and we're going to leave farming, gold and stone gathering for another video if this video gets enough support. Here's the gathering results for the 9 villager simulations for each drop-off building. This is the result we expect to be most telling here, as for the first 10 minutes, the town center quite clearly pulls ahead of the other drop-off buildings in terms of resources gathered. Notably, the settlement is able to retain efficiency for slightly longer than the lumber camp, throughout the 20 and 30-minute marks. All 3 drop-off points level off to similar resource gather rates from the 30 to 50-minute marks, however, which is what we expect as villagers have more space to move, and the geometry of the building becomes less relevant in terms of travel time. The 7 villager chart shows a similar story, with the town center pulling ahead in the early phases and maintaining that lead. The settlement coming in second past the 10-minute mark, and then all 3 leveling off as walking distances increase. Interestingly, the lumber camp gather rates beat out the settlements in both 7 and 9 villager simulations during the 0 to 10-minute regions, suggesting that its smaller size allows more villagers to work on the woodline at a time. Notably, for the 3 and 5 villager simulations, there's no clear trend between which gather rate method is best. There is a slight edge, however, for the town center across all of the time brackets past 20 minutes. One key piece of the puzzle is still missing to understand the situation though, the per villager gather rates for each time bracket. The table here showcases the gather rate per villager during each interval. Notably, the villager efficiency drops for 9 villagers significantly from the gather rate of 3 villagers, which can be considered close to the base gather rate with minimal villager bumping. In the 10 to 20 minute bracket, the lumber camp villagers are only gathering 17.88 wood per minute, compared to the settlement's 18.58 and the town center's 18.5 wood per minute, a 4% decrease in worker efficiency, which can add up over time. It becomes clear that what pushes the TC ahead as the resource drop-off building for 9 and 7 villages is that it reduces the villager-to-villager collisions by providing a large area, as well as a region underneath it that villagers can walk beneath. The large area explanation is however counteracted by the relative underperformance of the settlement, which despite having a larger size than the lumber camp either didn't or only marginally outperformed the lumber camp in gather rates and most of the time brackets. What is clear from these results, however, is that the town center is the clear winner when it comes to gathering efficiency, returning an extra 120 resources over the course of 20 minutes with 9 villages compared to a lumber camp. And remember, that's just because of the town center's shape and size naturally reducing walking time. This combined with being able to encompass another resource in a gold or a stone line and serving as a mill makes the town center a go-to drop-off building even before looking at its ability to produce villages. All of the simulations were conducted in an idealized environment where it's possible to place each building flat against the woodline and make a side-by-side comparison possible. Of course, in real games, the woodlines would have a lot of strange shapes which cater to specific placements. It's definitely worthwhile to run simulations with more villages as well, up to 15 to get a better understanding of the inefficiencies caused by having too many villages. We're going to have to leave specific building placements for another video though. That's pretty much it for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next week.